With me tonight is Cassandra Salas.
Kales,
I'm sorry about that. And Robert Larson.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And just in case, refresh your course on they're involved with the missing of
Stacy
Peterson, sister. So, December 2007, there was a search of Stacy Peterson. It was a focus on a blue container. Can you tell us or describe that focus on that blue container?
Which search are you talking about?
There was the search for Stacy focusing on a blue container, which kind of like there was some contents in that container that was possibly could lead them to other findings.
Drew Peterson carried my sister out in a blue barrel with Thomas Morphy. That's why the focus was on the blue barrel. Not saying she's still in it, but that was the start of the focus.
Want to elaborate?
Yeah, there was a blue container that Stacy was allegedly put in, and we were pretty sure that that's what the case is here. There was a blue barrel that was found, I believe, in 2009. I'm not sure about the year there. That barrel had nothing to do with Stacy's disappearance. There was a body that was found there, but it was a male that was found close by a blue barrel.
Tell us about, in January 2012, Rob Lowe portrayed Drew Peterson in a movie called Untouchables. You were informed that you just totally disregarded. But what was your feelings when they announced they was going to make a movie out of this situation?
They had called me to do a book and movie deal, and I replied no, because there's no last chapter. Where's Stacy? But then Joseph Hosey, that crummy reporter, he took it upon himself to take information that he got from doing the media to do the book and movie deal, and that's how that movie came out. And it was so far-fetched and off that it's not even worth watching.
I wouldn't watch it. I never watched the movie. I don't, that's somebody else's recollection of what happened here, and to make a movie over that when, like Cassandra said, where's the last chapter? That's not his business to make that movie. I think it was wrong.
Do you think, given the nature of Drew Peterson and his demeanor, do you think he abused his police power?
Abused it? Yeah, he took it all over the top. He would, run plates and do checks on Stacy's friends and stuff like that with the police. And that's probably why Steve Peterson was fired, because he was looking up information for his dad through the Oak Brook police force.
He's a cop, okay? At that point, he's a police officer. He's supposed to be out there protecting our children. And at 16 years old, Stacy's still a child at that point. He's got no business even getting involved with a 16-year-old girl at that point. To abuse his powers as a police officer, or just as a regular human being. I mean, who does something like that? It's not right to be with a 16-year-old girl, especially if you're a police officer.
And in your 50s.
So earlier you said those were alarming, the age difference, including one time you mentioned buying her love and her affection.
You're still a kid at that point, you're still learning right from wrong. So she did love him, but once she realized who he really was, that's when she wanted out and she couldn't get out.
At that age, she's not even old enough to make a judgment call on most of the adult decisions you're going to make in life. And you got a 50-year-old man that's pushing her into things, and I can see where a 16-year-old girl is excited. He's an older gentleman, and on top of it, he's a police officer. I can see where she was at that point. There's no reason he should have taken advantage of that at all. I mean, that's, like I said, that's just dead wrong.
Why do you think it was dead wrong?
Well, I mean, look at the age difference. We're paying this police officer to go out there and keep our kids safe. And at 16 years old, she's still a kid. That's still a child. I don't care if she's 50 years old. She's still somebody's child. But when you look at that age difference, I'm 50 years old almost. Not quite, but almost. I could not imagine what kind of interest would I have in a 16-year-old girl. That's crazy. I can't.
You mentioned you had some disagreements with your sister. You said that basically at that time it was like, how can I get to my sister? How can I talk to my sister? Could you describe like why it was like pulling teeth in that situation?
Because it was just, we were always being watched over, you know. We always said the house phone was probably tapped and stuff like that because of him. Because he did it through Savio. He had the phones tapped. And we always figured that her house phone was tapped and somehow her cell phone was tapped. We never really talked unless we were out and about shopping or whatever. And that just has wrong all over it. The warning signs.
Did you find out that going through history of the last relationship, you said the warning signs were there? Was it hard to explain? Look at this picture. You can see it crystal clear, but she couldn't.
She already realized she was in too far because she had kids, and she wouldn't leave the kids because she had no background job experience and stuff like that. That's why she was going to college, so she could get out. And Drew seen that, and that's why he planned her murder.
Do you think it's because of jealousy?
Jealousy, greed. If I can't have you, nobody else can.
Were there any type of situations that he thought that she was cheating?
For him? Yeah, she was always cheating, according to him. Even the people, I don't remember their names, the Rosettos, those were friends previously. She wasn't dating any of them. She was just talking to them. Because I told her, I said, you need your friends. So she started mingling. She got her own cell phone. She started talking to her friends, and, you know, she felt happy. She was excited to see a lawyer and get out of that controlling relationship and just be out and be herself.
But you think that soon as he saw she was having her freedom, it was time to get the control back.
Yeah.
So that's when the gavel, in your opinion, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, that's when you think the gavel started to hammer hard.
Yeah.
So you described her friends. How did her friends notice her demeanor? Like you said just a few minutes ago, she was happy to get out. However, when time started to go on, did they notice the signs of her demeanor diminish?
No, because it was just that week, that previous couple weeks before October 28th, that she was, you know, getting out and seeing her friends, and her friends were actually terrified to go out with her because they'd be at a restaurant and Drew would be circling the parking lot in the squad car because he always knew where she was. My friends would be freaked out, and she's like, "Oh, whatever. I'm getting a divorce. I'm done with all this."
Was that kind of like a security blanket to say, "Don't worry about this," to her friends, or
Basically, yeah.
why?
She was just letting them know that, she was done with them and they had no worries.
How did you perceive that she was getting out, and now all of a sudden the gavel?
I think she started getting out, wanted to go out with her friends, start this new life. And it came down to the line with Drew. Drew wasn't going to have that. He was going to put an end to that, and he certainly did. Once he found out she was going to have that meeting with the lawyer the next day, on that Monday, I believe it was, I didn't think he wanted to go any farther than that.
You mentioned about Drew Peterson. You said some words. Can you go in detail a little bit about those words?
Which, I've said a lot of words. What about them? Which ones are you talking about?
Well, describe an incident that you had words with him. You mentioned the phone conversation that you wanted to talk to your sister, but he did not allow that.
He wouldn't allow it, but he would purposely answer the phone and give me lip, and I didn't take it, and I just give it right back. So we kind of like antagonize each other. I wouldn't back down.
Did that irk you that he wouldn't allow you to speak to your sister?
No, because she didn't listen either. Obviously she's going to talk to family. We're all we had.
Yeah, it's just another part of his control there. He wants to control her phone calls and everything that she's doing, who she's going to be going out with. And I can see how that would really irk. That's going to irk anybody in their family. If your family's trying to get a hold of you and your husband's trying to intervene there and stop that, I can see exactly why they'd bicker back and forth.
Right now, Drew Peterson is back in the news again for plotting an assassination attempt on the prosecutor. What are your feelings towards this developing story?
It just shows how he thinks he's above the law and he can get away with anything, but karma, everything's catching up on him and he's getting caught for everything. And he will get caught for what he did for my sister, because I'm not going to stop searching for her, and I will bring her home.
/iHeart radio station. My name is Roman Morrow, substituting for Monday Night Mingle with Gina and also John Stennis. Now you are in the Monday Night Mingle. Our guest today is Cassandra, can you say Kales and Robert Larson. And they're with the Drew Peterson case. This is Stacy.
I'm Stacy Peterson's sister.
Stacy Peterson's sister. And Robert Lawson is a K9 specialties, and he deals with search, he rescue, and he protect. But the interesting thing that you can describe, he's not charging you nothing. Can you go into details with that and how you met him?
Well, he's just here to help, like a good guy that he is.
A lot of people have asked me to take a look at this case for quite some time now, and I kept on looking at it, and I finally reached out to the family, and I called Cassandra up and I said, "Hey, listen, this is who I am. This is what I've done. I'd like to help you and offer my services free of charge. I never charge a family to do what I do. Can't do it. I've never will. We do accept donations to help support what we do, but I don't ever charge a family. How do you put a price on that? I simply couldn't do it. I'm here to do whatever I can to find Stacy And that's what I do.
How you develop a passion for what you do?
Well, in 2013, there was a little boy in Maywood here that was killed by the mother and the boyfriend, thrown in the Des Plaines River. And I spent 30 days in the river searching for that boy. And it became my life in every way, shape, and form to find him. I found that boy after 30 days. And since then, I've looked at numerous cases. I've worked on quite a few here. And I have extreme luck with this. Call it luck, call it perseverance. People have called it many different things. I got a lot of people out there that don't like what I do. They discourage what I'm doing. They say I'm a fake and a fraud. Well, the proof's in the pudding. I can show you many cases that I've done very successfully. And what is it I'm taking advantage of here? The families? Like I said, I don't charge these families a nickel. Nothing. I do it from my heart. I do it because sometimes I see these investigations that are just, what's the word I want to use there? The lack of investigation, we'll say that. And if we're going to do this type of thing where we're going to try to find Stacy, well, we need to give it a full effort. Where are all the search and rescue people to help this lady? They have to wait for law enforcement to call them out there. And then the law enforcement is going to tell them what areas to search. Well, Drew was a cop, so how did that just doesn't mix with me. I go out there and I'm going to search every area that I can possibly search until we find her. We're going to go over areas that have already been covered. I've been in areas on previous cases that it's been covered by 500 police officers and helicopters and sonar equipment, search and rescue dogs, and they found nothing. But my dog and I can find these areas, and my dog alerts me right where we need to be. He's never been wrong yet. So I trust everything that I have with that dog.
You mentioned there are some naysayers.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to address why they are saying what you just mentioned?
I would love to. There's a lot of search and rescue people out there that just badmouth me all day long. There's a lot of police officers that don't like what I do because I don't wait for them to call me. It might be weeks down the line, could be months, maybe never in some cases, where how do I have this dog that does what he does and not offer my help to this family? They all say I need permission from them, from the police to help somebody. I don't need any permission from anybody to help this young lady find her sister, nor am I going to sit around and wait for permission from anybody. I don't need some certificate from a search and rescue group. I don't need their permission either. I don't see any of them out there doing what I do. Most of those people, they have big corporations that are supporting what they do, and they sponsor them. I do this completely 100% out of my own pocket and by the donations from the community. It's $5 and $10 here and there that keeps me doing what I'm doing, and I'm going to keep doing it. Those naysayers can badmouth me all day long, but guess what? I'm still out here doing what I do, and I'm being successful at it. So there's nobody that's going to stop what I'm doing. They can whine and cry about I'm not part of their group all day long. I'm not, and I'll admit, I am not part of any search and rescue group other than my own crew. I don't know why they have such a bad time with understanding what I'm doing. If you don't like what I'm doing, look the other way. But they get real bent out of shape because maybe I'm going out on these cases and they can't. Many times they've told me that I make them look bad. Well, sorry about that. I'm just doing what I do. I'm not out there trying to make people look bad or step on anybody's toes. I just don't agree with having to sit here and wait for somebody to tell me I can go help them. That's what I do.
Do you feel that there's, given the nature of his profession, Drew Peterson is a police officer, and there's a code blue of silence in protecting him? What is your opinion? Do you think, if you look at the timeline, what I mentioned earlier in the program, how could he just get away with some of this stuff? You mentioned karma is catching up with him, but don't you think there's a sense of blue code of silence in this type of ordeal?
I don't think so, no. I think Drew worked alone.
Why do you think so?
Just the way I think. I mean, if he did have help, I would hope he'd come forward by now. But obviously they're as guilty as he is, and
we don't think that the rest of the police department is covering up for him. I mean, if that's what you mean there. We don't think that police department's covering up for him. There's good cops and bad cops out there. He was a bad cop. Simple as that. The rest of that department, we're not saying that there's a problem with the rest of the department at all.
Yeah, I haven't had any problem with the Bolingbrook Police or the state's attorney or nothing like that.
We want to work with them, you know.
Yeah.
We're not here to bash heads and butt heads with each other. We want to work with the departments, and if they're willing to work with us, it makes it that much easier.
You discussed the children and the situation that they're in. And during the break, you got a chance to talk. And I wanted to ask this question. Who is currently, if you don't mind, taking care of the children?
Drew's son, Stephen Peterson.
And why?
Because I guess Drew gave him custody or guardianship over the children.
Is there any legal action on your part to...
I've tried all the legal actions I can, lawyers and everything. There's nothing they can do. They've called, they sent letters, I've called, I've had friends call, and Stephen just refuses to let me see the kids. Now, there's no law that, like, for me, because I'm an aunt, there's no aunt law. There's a grandparent law, but...
Can you identify who Stephen is?
Stephen Peterson is Drew Peterson's son.
And what are their ages?
Like 7 and 9, I believe. It's been so long.
Drew still gets a pension. What is your thoughts?
I believe his pension could be taken away. He's getting paid for a murder he committed while he was a police officer. And he's getting paid to sit in prison.
And there's nothing you could do with that, or?
There's a hearing coming up that they're trying to get rid of it, take it away. And I believe that's in April coming up.
Your thoughts on it?
I think it's ridiculous that he's getting paid for anything in there. That should have been revoked. It should never have been given to him. I mean, I don't understand that. I don't understand that a bit. I mean, you got people out here working all day long trying to just make it through life, and you got this guy locked up getting $6,000 a month. That's crazy.
And there's nothing so far. It's just in the court system, correct?
Yeah, the court's taking care of it.
In June 2011, Drew Peterson offers a woman Stacy's clothes in a love letter. What is your thoughts on that?
It's just messed up because he just goes from one woman to the next. Once he's done with that one, he, takes all the stuff and gives it to the next. When Savio supposedly slipped and died in the bathtub, he wouldn't give her family anything. He was bringing her clothes and everything home and giving it to Stacy and selling the cars and whatever.
Your thoughts?
I think it's sick. It's simple as that. That's just sick.
Well, Drew letter is not easy, being national pastime, which was printed in August of 2012. And he said some things in that national pastime, which was printed in the Chicago Sun-Times. Do you have any type of opinion on that national pastime, that letter that was printed in the Chicago Sun-Times?
Which letter? Was that him talking about the jail life?
Yes.
No, that was to Joe Hosey, of course, his best buddy. No, it was just another way of him trying to reach out and be in the media again from behind bars.
Why you think he's currently, you mentioned he's a media hound, a media hog. Why you think he's constantly appealing to the media?
He likes the attention.
Yeah, that's his personality.
Yeah.
So you think that because he thinks he can get away, he can get the limelight out of it, and that's where he thrives?
Yeah, I mean, look at every interview. When somebody interviews Drew, he's all about being the flamboyant, show-off guy and the very cocky. Until you ask him a question about Stacy, then he doesn't want to talk too much. But if it's about him, he's all about being the star of the show there.
What are your thoughts and your opinion about Stacy? You talk about her as growing up as a child, and you talk about being too trustworthy. Now, years have lapsed. You being a sister, and you're not giving up. Some would just say, why is that determination in your heart now?
It's the love I have for my sister. We were always there for each other through thick and thin, and the rough childhood we had, and I'm gonna do it.
Can you describe a little bit about your childhood?
That's not why I'm here.
No, okay. Yeah. No, that's fine.
I'm here to talk about searching and my efforts.
Okay. When we come back on intellectualradio.com, we'll have more. We're back on intellectualradio.com, substituting for Monday Night Mingle with Gina. I am Roman Morrow on a special edition of intellectualradio.com with an exclusive interview with Stacy Peterson's sister,
Cassandra Kales,
and Robert Larson. Now, in closing, anything that you want to get out there so the public would know?
Yeah, my sister didn't run off. I couldn't get her out of the house the night before she was murdered because she wanted to stay there for the kids. And that's the reason she wouldn't run off. She was trying to better herself so that way she could take care of the kids by going to college. She didn't run off and go on vacation or whatever. Drew murdered her, put her in a blue barrel, and transported her somewhere. And I'll find her.
Now, any information regarding the children that you want to get out there about how controlling Drew Peterson is with the children?
Oh, just him being in jail right now, he still controls that I can't see the children. So he's controlling his son Steven, and I can't see the kids. And it breaks my heart because they're the closest thing I had to Stacy.
Any closing remarks?
I'm going to do whatever I can to help this family. It's is a devastating thing for any family to go through. And to go this long, I mean, you can only imagine what goes through these people's minds when they got to think about Drew Peterson. I'm going to see to it. I mean, Drew's going to pay for this crime he did. I'm going to be out there every minute that I can. And anybody and everybody that knows me knows that I don't give up on a case. So if it's a matter of time, well, so be it. I got plenty of time. I'm gonna do what I can. I'm gonna put every effort forth that I possibly have in my body. I got the best dog in the world here. He's done extremely beautiful things for a lot of people in the community. We plan to keep on doing it. I'm going to go over all the search areas that if there's an area that's already been searched, well, we're not going to bypass that just to look for a new place. I'm going to research every area that's out there. Just because nobody found anything there doesn't mean there's not anything there. I've done cases where they brought plenty of equipment in and found nothing. And my dog does a phenomenal job. It'll lead me right to where Stacy is. It's going to take some time. It's going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort. But that's what it's all about, putting forth a full effort on it. You can't just go out there and spend 45 hours doing a simple search and then, oh, well, we're done. Well, that just means you're done with that area. You need to keep on it, keep doing it. So that's what I'm going to do.
And you said that all your dogs, you train them personally.
I train my dogs the way I train them. And that's a big problem with these search and rescue groups that want to be the naysayers and badmouth me because I don't do it their way, because I don't wait for law enforcement to call me out there. Sometimes there's never a call, so I'm I'm many steps ahead of them, and I think that's where they get aggravated. And that's all right, I don't badmouth them. I appreciate their efforts for what they do, and I can appreciate what they do. I just take it a little further. That's all.
Now, for the both of you, if anyone that wants to get involved or get in contact you want this story to continue, don't let it die out, correct?
Okay. Right.
So how can the public get involved to continue the story?
Well, if they want to get in touch with me, they got to go to searchingforstacypeterson.com or Stacy Peterson's Facebook, and I run that, so they can just message me right there.
If anybody has any questions about searching efforts, they can contact me at captaindexterdog.com, or they can go to my Facebook page at Robert T. Larson. I also have a Facebook page under K9 Specialties.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much. I know it's very painful and very hard to share your story, but instead of sound bites, you had an extended version of it and an unedited version. So we want to continue to get the message out there, and thank you for joining us.
That's great.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I want to